Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can you all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the work coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down.
All right. Well, let's get you going. Membership number or phone number listed on the account, sir.
I don't know the phone number. It's either. I think it's. Try that.
All right.
I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't have the tag on
here. Unless you have a membership
number
or anything, it's okay. I'll get you over to the captain. What's the best phone number to reach you at?
Everyone in the background is saying, is he dead? Nolan, wake the up.
Claiming they're sinking and calling for help. And yet, in the background, are we really hearing all of this other activity?
Nobody has ever, none of the kids on this boat have ever admitted that anybody said that they thought Nolan was dead.
Mississippi's top cop sat down on live TV yesterday to talk about Nolan Wells. And halfway through the interview, he started talking about driver's education. Read that again. Driver's education in an interview about a dead teenager on August 2nd, while a mother in the same state was still begging for one honest witness to walk into a police station. That is not a slip of the tongue. That is not a mistake. That is a strategy. And once you see the strategy, you cannot unsee it. His name is Sean Tindell. He is the Commissioner of Public Safety in Mississippi. That is the top law enforcement job in the state. He runs the Highway Patrol. He runs the crime lab. He runs the office that answered every question about Nolan's death for the first 3 weeks of this case. When he speaks on this case, he speaks with the full weight of the state behind him. And on August 2nd, he went on WLOX for a follow-up interview. This came right after his July 31st interview drew a wall of backlash from the family, from the community, and from the Wansley legal team. Everyone expected him to come back and clean up what he said. Everyone expected him to answer the questions he dodged the first time. Everyone expected him to speak directly to a grieving mother who was still waiting for answers. He did not do any of that. Instead, on August 2nd, he pivoted. He pivoted so hard, the microphone almost slid off the table. He started talking about trooper shortages. He started talking about how Mississippi does not have enough highway patrol officers to cover the roads. He started talking about driver's education, about young people needing better training behind the wheel, about the state's plan to fix that. Not one word of that has anything to do with Nolan Wells. Nolan Wells did not die in a car. He did not die on a highway. He did not die because a trooper was not on the road. He died on the water, on a boat, with his friends, in a case that has nothing at all to do with driver's ed. Why would the top cop in the state go on television and change the subject? Why would he take the first big platform he had after his backlash and use it to talk about something completely different? Why would he sit in front of a camera during the biggest case of his career and start reading from a script that had nothing to do with the case? Because that is what officials do when they cannot say what they know. Let me walk you through what really happened in that interview, because most people watched 5 minutes, saw the driver's ed pivot, and clicked away. That is exactly what he wanted. The whole point of a pivot is to bore you into changing the channel. But if you sit through the whole thing, if you actually watch every second of that August 2nd segment, you notice something. Every time the reporter tried to bring the conversation back to Nolan, Tindell reached for a state program. Every time the reporter mentioned the family, Tindell mentioned a budget line. Every time the word autopsy came up, Tindell mentioned staffing. It was like watching a man play defense against a ball nobody was throwing. That is a person who was coached. That is a person who sat with lawyers before the interview. That is a person who was told, do not answer any question about the Wells family directly. And if the reporter pushes you, pivot to a state program. Officials do not talk that way by accident. They talk that way because someone told them to. Now let me tell you why that is a bigger story than most reporters are willing to say out loud. 2 days before the Tindell pivot, on July 31st, the state autopsy on Nolan Wells was completed. That autopsy is now in the hands of the Jackson County District Attorney. It is sealed. It is being prepared for grand jury. The results are not public, but they are known inside the state government. Sean Tindell knows what is in that autopsy. His office runs the crime lab that produced it. He has read the pages. He has seen the photos. He knows what the pathologist wrote down. And 2 days after seeing those pages, on August 2nd, he went on live television and talked about driver's ed. Do you understand what that tells you? He is not talking because he cannot. He is not silent because he is uninformed. He is quiet because talking is dangerous. Every word he says on camera can end up in a defense lawyer's binder. Every sentence can become a line at a trial. Every phrase can become a headline that a grand jury sees on the way into the courthouse. So he changed the subject. He gave the reporters something they could use for a clip. He walked off the set. And the news cycle moved on to trooper staffing. Except it did not move on because people noticed. Christine Wansley noticed. The family lawyers noticed. Judge Carlos Moore noticed. Ben Crump's team noticed. The community noticed. And now every household in Mississippi that has been following this case is asking the same question. What does Sean Tindell know that he is not saying? Let me tell you something about older people who have watched Mississippi politics for a long time. You already know how this game is played. You have watched it your whole life. When a state official pivots this hard, this obviously on this big of a case, it is because the ground is shifting under his feet. He is not doing damage control for his agency. He is doing damage control for himself. Sean Tindell has a career to protect. He also has a reputation to protect. He also has a future in state politics to protect. And every one of those things gets more fragile when a case like this goes to trial and the state's early messaging gets picked apart on the witness stand. So he is buying quiet. Look at what he did not say on August 2nd. He did not say the state stands with the Wells family. He did not say the state will pursue every lead. He did not say the state will hold anyone who lied in this case accountable. He did not say the state will make the sealed autopsy public once the grand jury is done. He did not say the word Nolan very much at all. You know who talks about a case with the words I just used? A prosecutor who is about to charge someone. You know who does not? A commissioner who is worried that his agency's early handling of the case is about to become the story. Because that is what is coming. Everyone in Mississippi law enforcement knows it is coming. When this case cracks open, and it will crack open, the first questions the press is going to ask are about the first 72 hours. Who searched the shoreline? Who did not? Who took statements from the friends? Who did not? Who preserved the evidence on the boat? Who did not? Who called the FBI first? Who called them second? Who dragged their feet? Every one of those questions lands on Tindell's desk. That is why he is pivoting to driver's ed, because driver's ed is safe. Nobody sues you over driver's ed. Nobody subpoenas you over driver's ed. Nobody makes you take the stand over driver's ed. It is filler. It is airtime insurance. And it takes seconds away from the seconds he does not want to spend answering real questions. Let me draw a line between the July 31st interview and the August 2nd interview so you can see the shift with your own eyes, because it happened fast. On July 31st, Tindell went on WLOX and defended the state's investigation. He was firm. He used the word thorough. He praised the local sheriff's office. He implied that the case was moving forward at a pace the family should trust. That interview blew up in his face. People online tore it apart. The Crump team called it dismissive. The Wansley lawyers pushed back publicly. Community leaders across Mississippi asked why the top law enforcement voice in the state sounded so unbothered by a grieving mother. Between July 31st and August 2nd, something happened inside that office. The tone changed. The talking points changed. And when Tindell came back, he was no longer defending the investigation. He was no longer using the word thorough. He was no longer praising anyone. He was instead talking about roads. That is a retreat wearing a suit. Here's what a retreat like that means in practice. It means the state has decided the safest position is no position. It means the state has decided that anything they say from this point forward can be used against them. It means the sealed autopsy contains something that changes the tone of every future conversation. You do not walk away from your own defense unless the defense stopped working. Now let me talk to you about what this feels like on the other side of the camera, because Christine Wansley was watching that August 2nd interview. So was Nolan's father. So were Nolan's grandparents. So were his aunts and uncles and cousins. They tuned in hoping to hear something, anything, a name, a date, a promise, a commitment, a single sentence that made them feel like the state saw them. They got driver's ed. Imagine what that does to a mother. Imagine sitting in your living room, exhausted, running on coffee and tears, waiting for the man who oversees the entire law enforcement apparatus of your state to speak your son's name with respect. And instead you get a man who cannot even finish a sentence about your child without changing the subject to something a school district should be handling. That is a cut, not a small one, a deep one. And Christine Wansley is a strong woman, but strong women bleed too. I want you to remember this moment as this case moves forward, because the way officials talk about a case in the weeks before charges are filed tells you what kind of charges are coming. When they get quiet, when they pivot, when they retreat, it is almost always because they know something big is on the horizon. They cannot get in front of it, they cannot get in the way of it, so they get out of the way of it. Sean Tindell just got out of the way. That means someone else is about to walk through the door. The next voice you hear on this case is not going to be a commissioner talking about traffic school. It is going to be a district attorney standing at a podium with a piece of paper. What that piece of paper says is what everyone in Mississippi is waiting for. And when that day comes, the driver's ed pivot is going to look, in hindsight, like exactly what it was. A door closing quietly so that a louder door could open. Older folks, hear me on this one. Silence from the state is not the same as safety for the friends. Silence from the state is not the same as protection for the boat group. Silence from the state in a case this big is the sound of legal machinery loading in the background. The people who did wrong in this case, if wrong was done, are not being protected by that silence. They are being set up by it. Because when a grand jury hands down a decision, the state does not want to have said anything on the record that a defense lawyer can twist. So they say nothing. They talk about traffic school. They talk about troopers. They talk about anything else. And then one Tuesday morning, without warning, the charging documents come out. And the whole town remembers what silence really was. Christine Wansley has been waiting for that Tuesday morning. She has been waiting through a month of driver's ed. She has been waiting through a month of pivots. She has been waiting through a month of state officials who would rather talk about anything than talk about her son. That waiting is almost over. The louder the deflection, the closer the grand jury. Watch the next 48 hours. Watch what Tindell does not say. Watch what the DA does not deny. And watch the reporters who keep asking, even when the officials keep changing the subject. Because the truth is not in what he said on August 2nd. The truth is in what he refused to say. And once you learn how to read that kind of silence, you never watch the evening news the same way again. Not in this state, not after this case, not after what a mother just had to sit through on a Sunday night in August.